Hi everyone, my name is Joy Luedtke and I'm the founder of First Wave Development. We are proud to sponsor this week at Modernism Week. I'm standing in the place of my business partner Drew Pedrick as he could not be here today. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I am from Boise, Idaho, grew up military and settled there after college. I've been a school teacher, a mother, a wife, an accountant, an asset and property manager, and now we're a developer and distributor. I'm so thankful to have some time to share with you this afternoon, and I have three goals for my talk today. One is that I'd like to elaborate on the leadership that I think modern architecture can play in the need for affordable housing. I'd also like to share some new products that we're using that I think are really game changers, not only for the state of California, but for our entire industry. And then lastly, I'd like to share a little bit about our story at First Wave and the uniqueness of what it is that we're bringing to the market. I began looking at this issue of affordable housing about 10 years ago. I manage a lot of mobile home parks, and a lot of those were built in the 50s and the 60s, and the homes are, in many cases, original. And they are dilapidated and in need of replacement. And as I began to consider and look at what the options were, there really wasn't something much better than what had been there before. And that wasn't the solution that I was looking for. I'm looking for an opportunity for those tenants, for those residents to really be able to change and improve their lives. I just felt so strongly that it needed to be more and that these homes needed to do more. So I began to look for a better solution and ultimately felt that I had to create one myself. There is a lot of stigma surrounding these communities. And one thing I think we need to be aware of is that the residents of these communities have changed considerably. People find themselves lucky to be able to get into even a mobile home community in my neighborhood, in my state, because the need for housing is so dire that their options are that, or living in their car, or living in their tent, and many fully employed professionals actually do. They are teachers, are police officers, they're living out of their cars because they can't find affordable housing. These are the challenges that are facing our working families, and we refer to the need for that class of housing as the missing middle. You know, there's things that are done for the really low housing, and then people really, they push and they go for as much money as they can, but that middle is really missing in our market. And I think that many of us are also seeing that our children can't even get housing. So a lot of us have our kids living with us still, even though they're fully employed, they're professionals. And I think that we're starting to see that as a community, as a city, as a state, that we've got to start making some changes. So I believe that even in mobile home park communities, we can start to look at what assets lie there. So we have established communities that are designed to live interdependently. You have your own yard. You don't have someone living on top of you like you do in an apartment. There are advantages, you know, if we can get better housing in these, to start to look at these communities. Instead of like a mobile home park, I call them pocket communities. I have deep respect for the people that live there. I see refugees working more than one job in order to keep their home. I see fully employed professionals just struggling to raise their families. I get asked the question a lot of where would you put something like these homes that we're developing? And I've already shared these pocket community ideas, but there are many other places where I think these homes can be used. A lot of cities are passing legislation mandating that you have to allow additional dwelling units in the backyard, no matter what the community is, and this is a natural fit for that. I also come from mountain community, and there's a lot of people that would love to put one of these up in the mountains because of the extremely short build time and the quality and the environmental and energy savings. That is also just a great natural fit. One of the places that I actually drew a lot of inspiration for this idea was actually here in Palm Springs. The Paul Kaplan group was taking a really modern approach and reinvesting in the types of housing they were putting in the Palm Canyon mobile home park. Which brings me back to the inspiration that I got from that modernism holds a lot of the keys and the solutions for this housing shortage. You know, it was really birthed out of the 50s when we had the housing boom with the baby boomers. And there was an enormous housing shortage, and there was a lot of excitement to use new products and new technologies that had never been used before. There was a willingness to challenge the established rules. There was a belief that affordable did not mean bad architecture. There was a focus on community living. Health and technology in homes were really being considered for the first time. And homes were being designed with a lot of light, and they were intentionally connecting the indoors and the outdoors to make a more cohesive living environment. These are still the same issues that we're facing today in housing. And I think that the challenges in many ways are steeper now than they were before, which is going to require even more leadership from us as a movement to create those solutions. Construction is traditionally an industry that's very slow to adopt change, and I understand that there's a lot of really good reasons for that. But the challenges facing us with housing are beginning to force us to adopt new ideas and new methodologies at an increasing rate. One of the things that we need to face is the major decline that's happening in construction in the labor market. For every 3 that retire, and much of the population is at retirement age, only 1 person is joining construction. So this labor issue is not going away. In fact, it's getting worse. There are other things, especially here in California, the need for sustainability, the look at environmental impact, the need for greater efficiency, the look at reduction of waste, lower costs. Those are many more of the reasons why we're looking more at modular construction. I really want to introduce you to what's unique about what I think we're doing in the modular market. At First Wave, we're blessed to have some really important partnerships that are really elevating what can be done in the modular market, and I think they're game changers. First and foremost, we're tech partners for ZS2 Technologies, which means we're distributors for them. Southern California is one of our territories. They develop and manufacture advanced building technologies that are fire resistant, water resistant, mold resistant, non-toxic, low carbon, cement building materials, and prefabricated structural panels. We use their SIP panels in our home, delivering an R factor of 40 in the roof and 28 in the walls. Carbon is actually harvested, injected into the cement, made out of magnesium sulfide dioxide, and the walls continue to absorb carbon, getting even stronger throughout the life of the home. Have you guys ever seen or heard of the show on Netflix called Unstable with Rob Lowe? In that show, he is actually a scientist that uses carbon to create cement. And we have a real life one. His name's Doug Brown with ZS2. And we think it would just be awesome to get the two of them side by side together in a picture. In fact, I think they even kind of look alike. Had I had more time, I would have put that up there. So as I said before, fire resistance is particularly important here in California. We have further addressed this issue with the roof that we're putting on this home. It's an epoxy fiberglass roof that is also fire resistant, and it increases the R factor by 1. We have seen with the use of ZS2 materials in both, I think, Florida and Texas, where insurance companies are agreeing to re-enter a market that they had left because it was not sustainable. Something still in progress is carbon credits available for use of low emissions carbon products. And from what I've been told, even builds done now, you're still eligible for those carbon credits once that system is fully established. This can be of enormous benefit to a commercial developer. These products that we can distribute for you include the SIPs, but there's also cement board, There's 2x2 cement tiles, brick facade, and siding that bring within reach the net zero standard that many developers are now being asked to attain. So at First Wave, we're digging even deeper into efficiencies and sustainability with the use of a dirt modular system. When I say this to many people, they actually think I'm talking about like a dirt floor made out of dirt, but it's actually an acronym that means do it right this time. And it's a system of a raised floor, and there's actually an example of it back at our booth, but there's pucks, and then you put tile on top of it. And then within the floor, you can do the wiring for the home, both electrical as well as internet. And then they leave chases in the walls so that you can quickly do the plumbing. These homes are built without any sheetrock, and so the interior walls are meant to go in like a kit, much like the exterior. So the thought is, let's get these build times down to 2 weeks, and so you can get this kit, flat pack, shipped to your home with all of the needed materials, and then you would have a development team there, and then we would provide consulting to help get this home up. What we have created is a home with beautiful architecture, with sustainability in mind, with environmental impact in mind, and it has very little waste when you put it together. We're incredibly proud of it. We believe that we're creating a new niche in the market, and I'm so glad that I got to share with you about it today. We are actually going to be doing a demonstration right outside if you go out the front doors and out to the metal statue that's just right there. And it's showing you a burn test. So we're actually going to take a flame torch to it with wood next to our panels. And so you can kind of see the pretty dramatic difference in the fire resistance in these homes. Are there any questions from anyone that I can answer before we go? Yes. Oh, go ahead.
So you hire your own construction crew and your team comes and supervises?
What we would do is provide some technology, some consulting, because not everyone's done SIPs before. And so, but some have. I mean, it's a technology that's been around forever. And so that's sort of the focus, is that we would provide that consulting needed. And that's what actually just happened for us. We intended to have a home out there. We had some consultants that came out and helped us. And once you do it, then you can teach others. So, yeah. And we're looking to develop partnerships around the country where people are skilled in bringing these homes. There's a lot of tech partners with ZS2 already throughout the states, and so that's a natural place where we can start to have those conversations. Yeah. What were you going to say? Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, so not building walls on sheetrock, can you walk us through again what are you constructing walls from?
So the SIP panel, she just asked if we aren't using sheetrock on the walls, what are we using them from? So the walls have the magnesium cement board on both sides, so it's fairly finished when you get it. We did a wood veneer on the front of the one that we intended to have sitting right out there right now. But that's something that I want to continue to improve on. We're actually in conversation with a company out of Utah where it's a cork paint, which also provides further fire resistance, and then that just would smooth out those cement walls, and it would look like a finished wall, finished painted wall. Yeah. So, yes. Hi.
So the panels you're providing, the services go inside the panel. What's the width of each panel?
So she asked what were the widths of the walls that we're using, and depending on where you're measuring, some of them are 4 inches and some of them are 6. Yeah, depending on the design. Yeah.
And what's the size of your units?
So this first model that we're doing is 14 feet wide by 40 feet long. So it's about 760 square feet.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
and
a great size.
I feel like the 800 square feet mark is really a good sweet spot. You know, the 400, which a lot are doing in the tiny home movement, I think that can be great for one, but my interest is families. And so I feel like we really need to provide places where they can live in community. So.
How many homes have you sold?
We haven't any so far. We have a lot of interest and we have a waiting list, but obviously everyone wants to know how much they cost. And so we should have that answer in the next 30 days, and then we'll be able to start taking those orders. So, yeah.
And do you have designs that can be looked at, or photos of one that's completed that can be
Yes, actually, our website is firstwavedevelopment.com,
Okay.
and so that has quite a bit of information on it. We actually have 2 designs that we've been working on, one of them all the way to completion, but much of that can be transferred to the second unit. And then because we're distributors for this, and we have an architect on our team, we have clients that are that we're working with for custom designs, and so that is something that can be done as well. All right? Yeah.
So are you also dirt interior, or do you partner with dirt interiors?
We've partnered with them, but we're not distributors for them. Yeah. That's something I think, depending on demand, is something that can be looked at along the way. So, yeah. Yeah.
I just want to say, invite everyone over to the booth because we do a video playing that shows how it comes together, the floors and the walls, and we even have some samples of the tech at the booth. So
Yeah.
you can see the floors themselves and the video how it all comes together. So please stop by.
And where is the booth?
Right by the front door as you come in. Can't miss it as we walk out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. It was so nice to share with you. We appreciate any questions or feedback. We know that this is a huge issue, and we're developing and learning all the time so that we can great and further meet this need. So, thank you.